Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you've all had a super fantastic, sparkling, magical day today. So what did you get up to? What magic did you manage to create today? We had a very, very somber day today. We had a community of people that came together to support one of our own who lost his son yesterday. So it was just a very somber day on our training call. It's been like that. It just felt like something's missing. It was just a very somber day today. There was sparkles of love flowing. I will admit that, because it just brought back so many memories. And but yeah, we've had a very somber day today. It's been a nice day of reflection as well. Learning to tell your story, being reminded that everybody has a story to tell, and it needs to be told before we are gone and everything is forgotten. Because how do we remember those who have passed? We remember them in our hearts. We remember the good times that we had with them, even some of the bad times. I remember some of the doozies of the arguments that Brad and I used to have, and we had some doozies, including one in a hospital that ended me storming out at 1 o'clock in the morning because he was being so stubborn. Yeah, I even threatened to pull the power of attorney on his medical thing to say that he was to get the NG tube put in because he was not of his right mind. And then getting a call at 3 a.m. to say that he had finally relented and had it put in and didn't want to talk to me because he was too embarrassed. But, we had some doozies of arguments. So, but he felt so much better after he got all that crap out of his stomach and everything else because his intestines weren't working. And it was just backing up all the bile into his stomach and that. And so he finally relented. And, and even Thomas, look, last time you did this, and I know you don't like getting the tube going down your nose and down your throat and all of that. And I know it's not comfortable, but remember how much better you felt last time you did this. And, but remembering good times and bad times, remembering them from a place of love and gratitude, love for the person, gratitude for the time I got to spend with them. So it was, sorry, I've just been out for a walk and come back and haven't hydrated. So there was magic in the memories today. Today was a magical day of memories, and a community coming together to support one of their own. And it was just a very interesting day. That's all I can say. And in other news, I hope you are all ready because tomorrow we are launching Family Tree Answers podcast. Yes, it will be streamed. I'm not sure if I'm going to pre-record it or go live with it. I haven't decided yet. It might end up being live because I'm just looking at my schedule. I don't have time to pre-record tomorrow. And I don't want to do it tonight because I've got all these, I got the extra baggage under the eyes tonight, and I want to look fresh. So maybe we'll do that at 5 o'clock in the morning. Oh no, that means putting makeup on at 5 a.m. Yeah, not sure if that's a good luck either. But we are going live tomorrow at 12 noon Mountain Time. 12 noon Mountain Time, we will be going live for our very first Family Tree Answers podcast. And we will be live on the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Helen Brahms. Real easy to remember. I wonder if I can get another one. But yeah, we will be live there tomorrow. So come join us. I'm not planning on it being very long since it's just the first one, but we'll get 1, maybe 2 questions answered during that time. So looking forward to seeing you all there. Another reminder we got today was to tell those that you love how much you love them, how much they mean to you, to tell those that inspire you how much they've inspired you, and to say thank you. For those that you haven't heard from for a while, you've lost contact with, get back in contact with them. For those that you haven't spoken to because of past hurts, forgive or say I'm sorry, whichever way say I'm sorry. Forgive them and say I'm sorry. Whether or not it was your fault, I don't care if it was your fault or not, just tell them you're sorry and open those lines of communication. Life is way, way too short to hold grudges. It is way too short not to stay in contact with people. So if you are on my friends list on Facebook, you may be getting me sending you a link saying, can you please update your contact information? Because it's going to be the quickest way for me to get the contact information. You just click the link and it'll take you to a form that shows you what contact information I have. And if it needs updating, please update. So, and it will be coming with my photograph on it too. The link will have my photograph on it so that you will know that it is from me and it is real, and I'm putting it out here that it is real. But yeah, so, and please start writing down your stories. You may not think you have a story to tell, but everybody has a story to tell. Everybody. Think about it. Were you ever bullied? Were you a bully? Did you move a lot? Were you always the new kid on the block at school? Did you stay in one place and grow up in one town and you're still in that same town? Were you born and raised in the same town that you still live in? I know some people, I thought, New Zealand's pretty small. And when I was in high school or middle school, we were living in Waitara. It was the place that I spent the longest. The one place in New Zealand I lived the longest. It was 6 years at one house. The longest place I ever lived in New Zealand. And I was there for the first 30 years of my life. And 6 years was the longest I spent living in one place. So yeah. But I remember my mum worked down at the doctor's surgery. She was a nurse and she worked at the doctor's surgery. And she came home one day and she was telling us about this lady. Now, I'm in high school, so I'm on to my 9th school. Okay? I can't remember how many houses we'd lived in up until that point, but I was on my 9th school, my 9th and final school. It was, I could probably do a quick calculation. Yes, 9th school. And I remember my mum came home, and remember my parents, whenever we had school vacations, they would take us away to some part of New Zealand and show us how to be a traveller within our own country. They would also show us how to be a tourist and how to be a traveller within our own country to learn the different cultures that are available, that are in New Zealand. They took us a lot of different places for our holidays, and for that I am very, very blessed. So she came home one day and there was a woman who was in her 70s or her 80s who'd been in the doctor's surgery that day. And she was so excited. She was going on this big trip. And we found out that she had been born and raised in the area and had never left it. And she's in her 70s or 80s. And she was super excited because she was going on this big trip and it was to visit a family member or something. And it was basically 3 hours up the road. And my teenage brain could not comprehend how one person had lived for 70 to 80 years in one place and had not gone out of the area. Yeah, they'd been into New Plymouth, which was 16 kilometers away. But that was like a 30-minute drive. And they were super excited because they were going to go on this big adventure. And I thought, I wonder where she's going to. And it turned out to be 3 hours up the road. And I was sort of like, my teenage brain could not comprehend that. You're talking to somebody who had already seen a lot of New Zealand at that point, thanks to my parents. The moving we had done, the family vacations we had taken, relatives in different parts of the country we would go and visit. My teenage brain could not comprehend how somebody could get to be the age this person was and not have left the area. And I was just like, I didn't get it. I honestly did not get it. I remember sitting there stunned that she thought a big adventure for her was to go on a 3-hour road trip to visit relatives. And it would be her first time out of the region. I was like, how do you, I mean, here I am 54. I still don't get it. I honestly don't get it. But I know that there are people who are born and raised in the same town and never leave it. I know that our little town was a population of 6,500. So it was it wasn't a city by any means. It was a town. And she had lived there her entire life and had not really gone anywhere. And you couldn't really call New Plymouth going somewhere because it was like 30 minutes. It was a 30-minute drive to get there. But she was going 3 hours north And to her, it was a big adventure. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. So, but I do understand that there are people who do not, for whatever reason, don't leave the town that they were born and raised in. They may go on trips and vacations to go to other places. I know of some people who have never left their state. They have done a lot of road trips around their state and explored their state, and you go there, they will take you to the most fantastic places within the state that they live in because they have explored it extensively. But take them outside that state, they are completely lost. So I understand there are people out there with that. But yeah, I still don't get it, but I understand it, if that makes sense. How did I get on this topic? But anyway, where have you gone? Where have you gone on your travels? Tell your story. Where did you go on your travels? Have you traveled? Where have you traveled to? What countries have you been to? What states have you been to? Have you have you visited all 50 states? Here's a good question for you. Have you visited all 50 states? And by a visit, I mean not just driving through it, actually stopping, seeing some of the sites that are there. And I know in Sparkles, I have my little map on the door that I put the stickers on when we complete a state. And in order for a sticker to go on that map, my rules are, you have to stay a minimum of 2 nights in that area. And the second rule is you actually have to leave the campground to go visiting some attraction or area or site within that state that is not at the campground. So those are my specific rules. So there are places where we have stayed 2 nights, but it doesn't get a sticker because we never left the campground to go and visit anything. I didn't get on a bus to go into town. I didn't, where were we? Santa Fe? Where's the Alamo? It's in Texas. Where's the Alamo? Oh, jeepers, drawing a blank. We were in the same city where the Alamo is, and I'd worked out the bus route to get from the campground, because there's a bus stop right opposite the campground, from the campground down to downtown. It has that river going through it. Complete mind blank. Anyway, I had the route worked out on how to get down there, which buses I need to take, where I needed to switch and everything else. I had looked it all up on the map and everything else. Had planned to take that particular day. Had already worked out which of the 3 days I was staying there I was going to go and do this. And it never got to happen. Work stuff popped up, which totally annihilated any plans of going to downtown. Where was I? As soon as I get off this live, I'm going to remember where I was. It was a place in Texas, a city in Texas I had not been to before, so I was eager to go down and learn more about the Alamo, learn more about some of the stuff around that area and everything else. And like I said, I figured out my bus route to get down there, did it at a certain time. I'd already booked in my tickets to go to the Alamo. Actually, no, I think the Alamo might have been closed at that point. No, it was still open. So I had everything worked out. And then I got a couple of phone calls, and that was it. I was stuck in my RV all day doing work. So things happen, life changes. This is going to upset me now. I'm going to have to go look it up as soon as I get off the live. Although I'll probably remember as soon as I get off the live. So so I couldn't take off the Texas one. Actually, no, I did get to cross off the Texas one before I even got there, because when I was staying in El Paso, my friend Mary Warren, who I hadn't met in person at that point, came to the campground, picked up Zeffie and I. She had her twin girls in the back seat, and we went exploring around El Paso. She gave us the local tour of El Paso. We even went, and there's a place where you can see dinosaur footprints. It was awesome. And you're actually seeing the under, and you weren't seeing the top. You weren't seeing the impression of the footprint. You were seeing the underside because of the way the earth had moved over the years. You were seeing the underside of the impression. So you're actually seeing you're seeing it stick out of the ground. Like the footprint was actually raised. It was a raised footprint because of the way the earth had twisted in this area. It had actually popped up the footprint from the underside, which was really cool. Did not know this place existed. If you had given me directions to get there, I would have missed it. completely, because it was this really nondescript area with this nondescript driveway to get there, and it was pretty incredible. Though it was a really incredible experience, and we went places where we could take Zephy with no problem at all, and so we had a really, really good day. So that was my day out and about exploring Texas, and I think that was the only place in the camp in the time I got to spend outside the campground. Oh no, I had a friend come pick me up and went out for lunch. That's right, went to a pizza place. Yeah, she came pick me up from the campground and we went off to a pizza place. We were gone for a couple of hours. But it was just very interesting to, so yeah, that's my rule with my stickers. In order for a sticker to go onto the state map, I have to stay a minimum of 2 nights and I have to leave the campground and go exploring. So yeah, so there are some states that I have stayed in, but I have not crossed them off because I did not leave the campground. So how many states have you visited where you have actually explored? You have left the area where you've looked, you've gone out, you've gone exploring, you may have done some local sightseeing, you may have gone to some off the beaten path places. I remember I was in, where was I? Milwaukee, the one with the fonds down by the downtown. I didn't get down to that. And I remember I had to go over to Walmart to pick up a little carry-on bag because I had too much stuff to get back in my suitcase to get back on the plane. And so I had the Uber driver take me over to Walmart, or the Lyft driver, I had a Lyft, and was asking him, what are some of the things in the area that are good to go and see? And he says, well, we've got this. I says, okay, those are the tourist traps. I said, where are the non-tourist stuff? What's stuff that the locals like to see? And I don't know how many tourists go through this place, but he told me about the domes. There are these 3 big glass domes, and each dome has a different theme. There was one that they change out frequently for whatever their current theme is. Then they had one that was like the desert area where you go in there, and there's different plants from around the world from their different desert areas. And there was cacti. There was all sorts of succulents in there and cacti. It was actually pretty impressive, and it was hot and dry in there. And then we went into the tropical room where it was hot and humid, and I had just come in from outside with my jacket on because it was cold outside, and so I'm having to cart this thick jacket around with me. And then they had the tropical area with these beautiful tropical plants from different places around the world, and you had to go looking for the little fairy gardens throughout it was a really cool place. It's called the Domes. It was a really cool place to go. And in their main one that they changed the thing out frequently, they had a pond there with a bridge over it, had a little gazebo in there. They had these, I'm trying to think what sort of plants they were. I'm not a big plant person, but I love walking through gardens. My mum probably could have named half of them. I couldn't name one of them. But hey, that's just how it is. But it was absolutely beautiful. Just these beautiful laid out gardens with the gazebos and bridges and seats, and had a lot of fun in that one. It was a very interesting place. I was there for like 3 hours or something, but it was a great way to spend an afternoon. And then the next day I got on a plane and flew home again. It was fantastic. So, what sort of places have you gone and visited? They could be something that happened at a well-known site that you visited, or it could be something that you went to a place that was off the beaten path that not many people know about. So what sort of places have you gone visiting in different areas that you've gone visiting in? So, they should be in your stories. They should be in your stories, along with some photographs too. Anyway, I've rabbited on long enough. I'm out of here. This was only supposed to be a short one. Get me talking on topic. So tomorrow morning we will be doing Tune It Up Tuesday. Then at 12 noon Mountain Time, we will be doing our very first Family Tree Answers podcast live on Facebook. We're going to be streaming. I'm not live on YouTube. Sorry, I'm going to be streaming into YouTube on that one. So come check us out over there, and we'll put the links up and all that sort of stuff as well. Still deciding whether to put it in one of my Facebook groups, on my genealogy ones. Still figuring that one out. And then we'll have the wrap up of the day at 6 p.m. tomorrow night. So have a super fantastic, sparkling evening. Remember to tell your family and your friends that you love them. Forgive those who have ever said a bad word against you or aren't talking to you, whether it's your fault or not. Say I'm sorry. Be the first to say I'm sorry. and get in contact with those people that you haven't talked to for a while, and also say thank you to those who have made a big impression on your life, have been a great influence to you. So go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. We'll catch you back here tomorrow morning for Turn It Up Tuesday. Hei konera.